People of power, welcome to Mount Fitness MBS Ministry, where I am your host, Brother Mongoose. And if you're tuning in for the first time, guys, this is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry that takes a look at humanity in all of its forms, and absolutely no subject matter that is deemed relevant and substantive is off limits. No topic, no subject matter. If it's substantive, if it's relevant, this ministry dares to address such a topic. This ministry is not concerned with whether it, not to be mean-spirited or not to be inconsiderate or disconsiderate. But this ministry does not put out messages to make people feel good or to make people feel bad. This ministry puts out messages that are truthful and that needs to be addressed. Now, when I say truthful, you may not agree with it, but truthful at least in the fact, from a standpoint that it's substantive and that it's relevant in today's society. So whether it's something, again, that's considered good or bad, whether it's something that has something to do with, current events, social matters, whether it's something that has something to do with personal development or personal accountability, if it involves religion, politics, doesn't matter. No subject matter is off limits. Now, it's important that you guys realize that my point of view on these subject matters is my personal point of view. It's viewed through my own experiential philosophy and my own sense of spirituality and connection with this thing that we call God, the universe, etc. So keep that in mind, guys. And I say that to say, obviously, you don't have to agree with my points of view. But I think if your heart, I'm certain if your heart is in the right place, you can agree that broaching and discussing these subject matters is important. Now, as far as the ministry itself, guys, this ministry believes that when an individual takes a holistic mind, body, and spirit approach to life, this is the key to unlocking and opening the door to a greater and a more refined connection with this thing that we call the universe. This ministry believes that when an individual is able to properly merge, balance, and synthesize the mental, physical, and spiritual capabilities, then it opens the door also to increased clarity, increased love, peace, power, transformation, authenticity, and fulfillment. If anything I've said thus far interests you, then I invite you to watch a couple of videos. One that's going to talk about the services that are provided by this ministry in an effort to help you achieve this goal of mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness. And that video is titled MBS Service Tutorial. Please also visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com as it relates to the actual services. Now, a separate video that's going to give you guys some information about myself and, more importantly to me, glorifies my Heavenly Father, because I just need to do that. If it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be here. That's putting it in a nutshell. So, if you'd like some more information about the specific origins of the ministry itself, and if you'd like some disclosure type of information about myself, please watch a video that's titled My Testimony and Disclosure. If you have any interest in the services, if you have follow-up questions, if you're wanting love, research material, motivation, inspiration, encouragement, etc., I will be leaving an email link down in the description box, and you can use that for any of the aforementioned purposes. Now, Having said that, guys, I don't know if I even said it, but if I did said it, if I have said it, it's worth me saying over and over and over again, for that matter. But thanks to you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the love and support, and we'll get into today's message where we're talking about spiritual authority. Now I'm going to be doing a chapter 2 where I will go back and I will detail spiritual authority, spiritual energy, and I'll be, again, examining and displaying or looking into, putting on display, however you want to word it, some of the facts that support the fact that spiritual energy is a real thing. It's not just a church concept. It's not just a religious concept. Spiritual energy, and thus those of you who carry this light, who hearts are in the right place, you have spiritual authority. So again, I'll be making a chapter 2 where I will be going over those things. But for now, I'm going to be simultaneously calling you guys to the carpet and encouraging you guys at the same time. Because some of you guys, whether it's due to a lack of knowledge, and that's fine, we're not all on the same level. There are people who are on spiritual levels that are vastly beyond mine. There are people that are, more smarter, than I could ever even hope to be. So we're not all on the same level. So I'm not trying to besmirch or denigrate anyone. I'm simply making the fact that for whatever reason, some of you guys are out there and you're not walking in your spiritual authority. And it is your birthright to do so. It's almost like if you see someone who's gifted with a paintbrush, basketball, someone that's gifted when it comes to singing, swimming in the pool, whatever. And you see they have this God-given talent, and yet they don't use it. This is tantamount to that, guys. Some of you guys, again, for whatever reason, maybe you just aren't evolved enough just yet. Maybe you are evolved enough, but for whatever reason, you continue to second guess and doubt yourself. Maybe you fall for the shenanigans of the enemy, which is to get us looking outside of ourselves for validation and confirmation of our spiritual authority. Maybe it's because of your past mistakes and a sense of unworthiness. Whatever the case may be, some of you guys out there, you're being energetically / spiritually docile. And you're being spiritually / energetically dominated, ruled, controlled, manipulated, subjugated in essentially any or most of the environments that you go in. Obviously, there are environments where, people may literally have your back, have your best interests. But chances are there are, for every one location or person in your life that does support you, that genuinely has your back, if you carry this light, then chances are for every one, there's 10, 20, 30, maybe even 50 that despise you, that resent you, that are fearful of you, that are intimidated by you, that are jealous of you, that are threatened by you. And when you go in those type of environments, you're not walking in your spiritual authority. So again, keep in mind, someone who's gifted, talented in whatever area. Someone, let's use a contact sport, say boxing or MMA. Someone that's got this ability And they walk around letting people literally smack them in their face each and every day, throughout the day. Breakfast, lunch, post-work, supermarket, out in the park. Metaphorically speaking, of course, as I tie this back into a physical example, how would you look at that person? How would you view that person? When you know that that person has the power, the authority, the righteous divine assignment to stand up, to protect themselves, and to defend themselves. They know how to do it. And even if they don't know from a strategic or a tactical point, you know it's in their heart. They're capable of stopping that guy, stopping that girl from continuing to smack them. And yet they don't put forth any effort. They just surrender or refuse to acknowledge their ability to get that person off of them. This would be sad beyond all measure. Imagine how much more sadder it is from a spiritual standpoint. Because the spiritual is where it's at. The diamonds, the gold, the cars, the bodies, these things, the things in the physical world, these things are fleeting. These things come and go. So their significance is puny compared to one's eternal soul. So if they're being that mistreated and allowing themselves to be spat upon in that arena, in a physical arena, imagine how much worse it is if it's taking place in a spiritual arena. And that's what it is. It's a spiritual arena. These are the areas where people attack those who carry the light and those who don't walk in their spiritual authority. It's a mental thing. It's an emotional thing. It's a psychological thing. There may not ever be a physical thing. And this is why the good book says we battle not against flesh. So there may and there may not be. And even if there is, there may be rare occasions where one may have to stand up and protect themselves physically. But day in and day out, one has to protect and defend themselves in the spiritual realm. Again, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And some of my brothers and sisters are out there and they're not doing that. Some of you guys, and you know who you are. You walk into toxic environments and you kind of just fold. You didn't walk in there with that energy. You didn't walk in there second guessing yourself, feeling down, feeling irritated, agitated, feeling pessimistic. You didn't walk into that area. You didn't walk up, or that person didn't approach you and you had that energy. No. When you engaged with that person, conversation, look, passing by, that negative, toxic, aggressive energy coming from that person, those people, that environment causes you to just fold. And before you know it, you are feeling bad. You are feeling sad. You do become unsure yourself. You lose your footing. Irritated, agitated, insecure, not confident. Walking in fear all of a sudden. When you walked into that place, you was walking in faith that no matter what, he's going to bring you through in whatever area you're counting on him to bring you through. But when you got in that environment, you got bullied, You got dominated. You got shut down. And here's the thing. It's not even that they shut you down. It's that you kind of signed on the dotted line. You gave them permission to shut you down when you simply released your authority. No one can take your spiritual authority, but the trick of the enemy is to convince you to hand it over by applying all of this emotional, psychological, mental, and even social pressure. No one wants to make you feel welcome. They go out of their way to make you feel that you're not welcome. You know, gaslighting on the job, in the relationship, in society, wherever you are, wherever these things take place. You know, trying to push your buttons, all in an effort to get you to hand over your authority. And you hand over your authority, dumbing down, kissing up, numbing out. And don't get me wrong, please get me right. There is a time and a season where we are to ignore, rise above, sidestep, things of that nature. You know, just look past it, look through it, look around it. Just don't feed into it. There's a time and a place for that. And sometimes these times and these places are sprinkled throughout the day. But you know just as well as I do, when you find yourself in some of those situations where being humble, being modest, you know, being tolerant, being compassionate, being forgiving, all those things are being weaponized against you. And people are continuing to give you evil eye, project negative energy onto you, project insecurity into you, invade your physical space in an effort to dominate you spiritually, intimidate you. And when you get in those type of situations, you need to remember that you was given divine authority. You can't be out here just folding. The enemy is counting on you to fold. This is what the whole game is all about, because when you walk into the room, gymnasium, whatever, when you walk in there, all the spirits say authority just walked in the building, just walked in the room. Spiritual authority just entered the building. And just like whether it was Lucifer in heaven, if you'll pardon a crude example, whether it was Eve in the Garden of Eden, these were all people. These were all situations and circumstances where that negative, that unclean spiritual energy rose up. And because of ego, there was a rebellion. The enemy hates more than anything else than to have to submit, to have to come in second place, to have to yield to rightful God-given authority. Not yield to arrogance, not yield to dominance, not yield to any of that. It's not about that. It's just that, just like God, this thing, pardon me, that we call God, just like he made the alligator the king of the Nile. When things come into that water, they got to respect that. It's not the alligator trying to be tough. The alligator knows who he is, just like he's made the lion the king of the jungle. He has established this. And the enemy don't want to yield to that. So when you walk into the building and they sense that spiritual authority, the first thing they do is go on attack. Their jealousy, their rage, their hatred, their envy, all of their insecurities and all the negative spiritual energy that they can muster is attemptedly projected onto you. And you need to be able to say, just like that lion, I'm the king of this jungle, this spiritual jungle, to borrow that metaphor. I'm the alligator. I'm king of this lake and this pond right here. So, Mr. Hippo, whatever wants to enter into that, you're in my domain. I have authority here. You need to rise up in your spiritual authority and know that it's all a trick. No one can make you feel bad. You have to let them make you feel bad. You have to let them convince you into handing over your authority. So, again, you know who you are. And if your eyes have been open to these kinds of subject matters, energy vampirism, negative energy projection, people doing weird things like being into witchcraft and playing with Ouija boards and all these different things, if your eyes have been open to some of these truths that most people aren't, if your eyes have been open to what's taking place behind the curtains, and you aren't participating in that, that means he's given you the spiritual authority to overcome that. So you just don't know this. You just haven't been awakened to this for you to turn a blind eye, for you to numb out, dumb down, kiss up. When you sense that negative energy, you don't have to get caught up in a back and forth energy exchange. But you just have to be willing to sit there. And through the grace and the power and the might of this thing we call God, sit there and know your authority. No, I'm happy. I'm confident. I have my struggles just like everybody else, but I deal with them positively, constructively. And even when I may have moments when I don't necessarily deal with them that way, that's what's at the heart of me. That's the apex from which I operate. So coming over here or projecting energy, and this is you going over day in and day out with yourself. I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm respectful, I'm humble, I'm modest, I'm courageous, I'm bold, I'm tolerant. I'm all these things. I'm happy, I'm outgoing, I'm energetic, I'm not docile, I'm powerful. Day in and day out going over these things and being able to keep this energy alive and pumping and welled and breathing and vibrating and oscillating within you. This is how you wield your spiritual authority. And here's a little cheat sheet, guys. It's not just you that's dependent on that. It's not just you. Remember, I just mentioned that not everybody is even aware of this. Some people's eyes aren't open. They'll never open. It wasn't meant for their eyes to open. This is why the good book says, let those see who have the eyes to see. Not everybody that has eyes to see. So some of those people, most people, don't have the eyes to see, and so they're being manipulated. They're being misguided, misdirected, treated, misled, tricked. They're being convinced to being arrogant, lustful, jealous, hateful, vengeful, a dog-eat-dog mentality. They don't have the eyes to see what people like you and me and others have the eyes to see. So they're being totally dominated by that unclean spirit of negativity, demon energy, whatever you want to call it, narcissistic energy. They're being dominated by that. And so you standing and wielding your spiritual authority, it's not just for you, but when you can make yourself, through this thing that we call divine intelligence, when you can keep yourself focused on your inner energies while still being mindful of all the outer challenges, the toxic environment, not only are you liberated, but you send out an energy, a frequency, a vibration that also liberates others or gives others an opportunity to reach out and receive liberation, to receive encouragement, nourishment, motivation, different perspectives, different views. But when you don't walk in your spiritual authority, not only does it negatively impact you, you leave a whole office space. You leave a whole office space. You leave a whole neighborhood. You leave family members. You leave a whole supermarket of people that are down, out, hopeless, in despair, lost, confused. And even though some of them are going to remain that way by choice or because of His will, there are lots of people in there that you were sent there and that you have been given the power, the authority, and the responsibility to free. All based on you realizing that things like love, truth, real honor, integrity, modesty, humbleness, wisdom, courage, valor, integrity, nobility, these are real things. And the energies that are born out of these words that we use to describe these energies, this has a positive, a conquering, and an authoritative vibe and energy with it that's not just for you. But there's people, and you put this to the test if you like some specific information on just how, or some specific strategies and tactics, how you can implement it, reach out to this ministry. But put it to the test, and you would be surprised. That guy, that girl, that group of people on the job, in the neighborhood, wherever you see them at, particularly if it's somebody that you see regularly, so you got a good sample size of how they are, how their energies are, and how they look at people and how they respond and deport themselves. It's all negative. It's all raggedy. And then you go in there in a very genuine way, in a very sincere way, and keep your energies up within you. Keep that up, and then notice how they behave. They're not as mean and toxic as you thought they were. Perhaps some of them aren't even mean and toxic at all. They're not selfish. They're not in despair. It's just that negative energy in that place has attached to them, has misled them, has guided them down a wrong path, has manipulated them, has contorted them into something that they really aren't. And only you and people like you and me and others have the spiritual authority to go in there, and by way of us walking in our inner spiritual authority, we don't have to laugh out, we don't have to giddy up, we don't have to be over the top, friendly, Pollyannic, rainbow and unicorns. Well, just maintaining that energy, that true spiritual identity and all that it represents, just having that in you. And you'll see, hey, you know what? Your boss ain't really a jerk after all. Your co-worker isn't. The stranger at the gas station isn't. But not everybody has this spiritual authority. But you do. And you know you do. One of the obvious, as I wrap this up, one of the most obvious telltale signs is that you can see what's going on behind the curtains, whether it's about the wars, whether it's about the fakery in religion. Not saying there's anything wrong with religion, but we know the truth about religion in terms of how it's been manipulated and weaponized against society. Whether it's about politics, whether it's about some of the unlawful laws that they're bringing into existence, you can see the truth and you're not partaking in it. You can see you're not partaking in the darkness. The truth has been made known to you. And you have an opportunity to partake in that and to perhaps, what we would say, get ahead in that. Because you can see the behind the curtains mechanics of how it really works. And most people, although they are partaking in it, they don't have a clue. But you refuse to join the circus. You refuse to become a disciple of darkness. And that in and of itself is a clearest indication that you have spiritual authority over it all. Because if you had awakened to it and you didn't have spiritual authority over it, then you would have succumbed to it. So I'm going to get out of here, but I want to call you guys to the carpet and encourage you guys. Like I said, you have the spiritual authority. You have everything you need. And that doesn't mean we sit still and rest on our laurels. We keep pushing, we keep working, we keep studying, we keep praying, we keep, pushing forward in self-development through this thing that we call infinite cause, first cause, prime source, Allah, Buddha, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. We keep putting in that work. So if you haven't been, and this is resonating with you, that's fine. That's why you're watching this message. It's a sounding the alarm moment for you. That you are to now awaken and to start standing in and wielding your spiritual authority. So I hope this message was edifying to you guys. If you like some specificities on how to go about achieving, walking in your spiritual authority, reach out to this ministry. I love the opportunity to provide you with some information, study material, prayer, motivation, etc., etc. Now, look forward to chapter 2. I'm going to break down spiritual authority, and I'm going to break down spiritual energy and the fact that it's real. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's not just some airy-fairy notion. It's not when people talk spiritual warfare or they got something going on from a religious standpoint. No, these are real things. So I'm going to break that down in chapter 2. But again, I wanted to start by calling you guys to the carpet and encouraging you guys as well. So again, I hope this message was edifying to you. Remember, watch the videos contingent upon what you get out of those videos. Of course, the MBS service tutorial video, as well as the video titled My Testimony and Disclosure, contingent upon what the Holy Spirit has to say to you after that. If you have any follow-up questions, if you'd like to schedule your initial consultation and evaluation, reach out to this ministry. The email link will be down in the description box. Remember, guys, that this is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry, and that is to say that regardless of whatever challenges you're facing, and I'm not making light of any of them, but regardless of what you're facing, you have been given the divine authority to make sure that your mind, your body, and your spirit remains beautiful as possible, as healthy as possible, and as vibrant as possible. This ministry has been anointed to help you achieve that goal. So keep that in mind, guys. If you got value out of today's message, then there's several things that you can do to send a powerful notice out to the universe, to God. A notice that says, you can see that this ministry has value. If you can see that. If you can't see that, then there's a few things you can do to send a message, a clear, a bold, resounding message out to the universe to state that. I like what this ministry is saying about a mind, body, and spirit approach. I like what this ministry is saying about spiritual authority. Some of the other messages. Watch the testimonial video. Hey, I like the story that's behind this ministry. Whatever it is, here's some things that you can do to show that not only are you in agreement, but you're willing to send a powerful message out to highlight that agreement. You can start by hitting the share button, guys. Please start there. It would definitely mean a lot to this ministry, and it could mean even more to the person that receives the message the moment that you share it. If the Holy Spirit moves you to do so, then follow that up by hitting the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribing to the channel if you aren't already subscribed, and by hitting the bell icon to receive notices when I upload new messages. Something else you can do to send a powerful message out to the universe that you believe in, that you support, that you are aligned with this ministry. You can make a financial donation. I will leave a Cash App link down in the description box for you to do so. And regardless if you send $1 or $100, you're still going to send that same powerful signal out to the universe. So it's more than just, I believe, I agree. It's like sending a message out to the universe in any way that I just mentioned. Receive your harvest, shaken down, pressed together, and running over. When you let the universe know that, hey, you're thankful and grateful that you have a mind, a body, and a spirit, and you are in alignment with a ministry that's designed to help you continue to prioritize those things and improve upon those things. Do all those things if you would, please. Let the universe know where you stand. Contact me if you have any follow-up questions. And remember, I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and I will holler back. See you in chapter 2. Peace.